debut novel, the literary thriller The Society of Experience, was picked up as one of the must-reads by Harper's Bazaar magazine. He has contributed essays to Ryberg and Torontoist, and his short stories have appeared with Found Press and The Rusty Cook. Raised in southern Ontario and Alberta, he lives and works in downtown Toronto, where he has a private practice as a psychotherapist. Thank you for coming to Ottawa. Please welcome Matt Cahill.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background here on this chapter.
I got a fan.
Yeah. So, here's the setup. Derek, the protagonist, was referred to a guest psychotherapist by his GP. And yet, his psychotherapist seems to have other intentions. Derek's father recently passed away, and Derek had a nervous breakdown. And he also kind of, at times, yearns for his ex-girlfriend, Karen. So I'll just pick it up from here. They're meeting in a park. Sorry, they're meeting in a cafe. Sorry. Oh. So, your GP and I belong to the same club. Would you believe that? We were waiting for coffees to arrive. There was only one other occupied table in the cafe, an older man in a tracksuit fidgeting with his cell phone and a pad of paper as if one accounted for the other. The interior was dim, with only the waning April sun to provide light. Interference was provided by a couple of wall-mounted TVs broadcasting in Portuguese. I waited for him to finish his point, but Wallace was staring out onto the street, seemingly content. When you say club, what is that? What is that? You work out at the same gym or something? No, nothing like that. It's one of those places where you get accepted because you can afford the membership fee. It's not even about connections. It's more like a rotary sort of thing. Sheila, Dr. McAllister, sorry, and I, we actually went to school together originally. He smiled. Long ago, McGill. That's nice, I said. He was taller than I remembered from the park. He changed into a dark suit. I decided on wearing a hoodie that originally belonged to Karen. Even though I was surrounded by soccer memorabilia and beer ads, I still feel underdressed. It's funny, my wife is jealous. She thinks Dr. McAllister has designs on me. I wanted him to keep talking so that I wouldn't have to think too hard. I still couldn't believe I was sitting here having this conversation. I keep telling her, look, she's married. She has kids, for God's sake. I think she does it to tease me. Your wife. Yes, not Sheila. It's not a bad strategy. No, it's not, he conceded with a smile, nodding. I guess the trick is to never let it be known that you're teasing. I think tension works wonders. Our coffees arrived with the puffed-out butter croissant I'd ordered. Wallace kept his eye on the waitress and stayed silent until she was far enough away. She tended to the man in the tracksuit, who smiled and started writing something down on his pad of paper after she left. It's an interesting club we're part of. Yeah, how so? I couldn't give a shit. He leaned towards me, catching me off guard with a knowing smile. Aren't you going to ask the name of the club, or do I have to initiate everything? What's that? It's called the Society of Experience, he said, pausing for effect. Interesting, eh? My hand still, holding onto the horns of the croissant. I looked at Wallace with my best poker face, hoping I wasn't conveying any enthusiasm. I remembered the card I found in the back pocket of my blood-stained jeans with the ornate inscription. The Society of Experience has been around for over 60 years. It's comprised of lots of different types of people from all walks of life, he said. From the top to the bottom, everyone's represented. I didn't like the way he spoke to me or the words he chose. I didn't see the point in him talking like a human pamphlet if, as I slowly gathered, he'd spent considerable time trying to bring me here to talk in the first place. That's interesting, I said. What do you, or this club, what do y'all do? Well, we involve our members by exposing them to situations that motivate them toward becoming better people through the agency of direct experience. Through direct experience, people are able to integrate these new exposures and sew them into the larger fabric of their lives. I smiled. I couldn't help it. I think that's a little more highfalutin than the Rotary Club. Yes, and we're not the Rotary Club, he said, leaning forward, staring at me with a light in his eyes. He matched my smile as if he was holding back more, as if knowing his pamphlet speak was irritable. For a moment, what laid within that light in his eyes seemed predicated on whatever followed. I'm afraid I don't get you. Your doctor, my friend, recommended you to me because of this society. Not necessarily because I'm a therapist, but if you're willing to work with me and work with us on what we're proposing, I think we can help you. I wish I was recording this. My doctor? What about the nurse at the hospital psych ward? Tell me this isn't religious, like, at all. Only if you want it to be done. What kind of an answer is that? Think about what I said just now, he replied in a clear whisper. The society aims to provide experiences based upon the individual needs of our members. If what they happen to require involves a religious framework, we provide it. Carefully, of course. Everything we do is careful, discreet. I should mention, firstly, that we are what you would call a secret society. We don't advertise. We have no official public presence. We don't look for attention. Interesting. I held the croissant in my hand, wondering what I was about to hear. It is interesting. It's a lot of things. But I'm not here as a salesman, Derek. Sheila contacted me because she thought you were ready for this sort of opportunity. She mentioned you seemed ready for a departure. I am a therapist, yes. But I also represent the society, and I feel the society is better able to help you than I can alone in the capacity of therapist. You could come sit in my office and have some sessions, sure. You know, perhaps there's something in that which could eventually prove useful. You know, slowly tease out some of the material going on inside you. With the society, however, I think we can offer new first-hand experiences, not just reheated leftovers. Memories, and it would be designed with you, the individual, in mind. He took a sip from his Americano while I waited for him to continue. It reminded me of my dad's penchant for manipulating the expectations of family guests by introducing similar dramatic pauses. Talk about therapy. Out of raw hunger, and because I hated eating in front of anyone I couldn't trust, I felt obligated to clarify things. So you, the society, you customize experiences for people. Are they all members by default? Do I need to be a member first? Go through some sort of initiation or something? Wallace smiled, amused. We're not Freemasons, Derek. It may all sound very odd, maybe old-fashioned, but it's progressive. We're also very protective, necessarily. As I said, we don't want attention, so naturally our methods of fishing for new members are pretty low-key. Low-key. Having someone plant his business card in my pants. Subdued, like having my family doctor forward my information to you. Sorry, but it sounds as if you may... I hope that he would jump in and explain everything that I didn't understand, which was a lot. Do you have something in mind? We do, he nodded. I had the feeling of being steered to this juncture. Nevertheless, I bit the horn off my croissant, circling my index finger for him to continue. What do you think about time travel, Derek? A rogue flake of pastry traveled down my windpipe, causing me to cough, my face flushing while involuntarily tears welled in my eyes. Unable to speak and, momentarily, to breathe, I put my hands on the table and didn't want to let go. When I was convinced I wasn't going to choke to death, red-faced and appearing to be crying, I lifted my napkin and attempted to restore dignity by carefully dabbing my lips, swallowing the rest of the mess in my mouth. Wallace sat patiently biding the passage of time, waiting for me to regain composure. I believe I missed something, I said, trying to offset the raspiness of my voice by sounding as intelligent as possible. He smiled and waited while I worked to compose my words. There's a connection point of some sort, I said. That or I'm not getting it. You haven't missed a thing, Derek. It was a simple question. I sniffed and snorted, trying to clear my sinuses, taking note of the pause that followed. I realized he was going to sit there silently for eternity until I responded. "You want an answer?" I asked, trying to keep my voice low, "to what my feelings are about the question of time travel." "That's right." I looked out the window. I didn't want to feel his attention on me. I grappled with the idea in earnest intellectually. I even peeled off a new layer of croissant, weakly clearing my throat in an effort to restore a sense of decorum. But then I thought that maybe this was one big joke. Somewhere there was a camera crew recording my strained reactions for a TV gag reel. Well, I'd say it's not a great idea. "Why's that?" he said quickly, and I began to understand just how rehearsed this was. He was 2 steps ahead, and I had long ago been figured out. "Because the chances of, disrupting the natural balance of things is too great," I said, searching for whatever authority over the subject that I could. "Karen could do this. She could answer questions without really answering them. I've been reading about that, and I just don't know who to believe. She could pull that shit out of her purse at a moment's notice. I was too much a thinker. I couldn't deflect with her skill or fake lacking an opinion." "Look," I said, setting my hands on the table, "I've read some stuff here and there, seen some movies. They're not wrong about that. I'm not a science geek, but I mean, if you go back in time and disrupt an established pattern, what follows would need to adjust itself accordingly. Like," I looked around and onto the street, "say you put spare change in someone's parking meter, picked up a newspaper that was sitting on the ground that was meant for someone else to see. These things could all have potential effects on the future, blah, blah, blah." "I see," Wallace nodded. "And if this were virtual?" Pause. "What do you mean?" "I mean, what if the whole experience, at least on your end, were virtual? The physics being real, the experiment being real, but your participation purely virtual, no physical contact whatsoever." "Then, yeah, I guess, I suppose." He leaned forward. "You suppose what?" That it's interesting and stuff." I took a sip from my cup. "That's good to hear," he said. "You're the type of person we're interested in." I stared down at the table and widened my eyes, trying to discern whether or not I was caught in a dream or I was cursed to repeat the mistake with the parking lot con artist from weeks before. "Dr. Turner, Wallace, no offense, but this sounds like a scam. It's a very interesting scam, but people don't just develop this sort of technology and then benevolently to bestow it on strangers, let alone randomly drop it on people like me. Maybe I'm being cynical, but human nature says I shouldn't believe you." I pushed my plate forward. "The only reason I'm here with you is that my GP somehow knows you. That's it. And I gotta say, between that shit with the card stuck in my fucking jeans at the hospital and what you're telling me now, this is getting creepy fast." Thank you.